Hake is live on Periscope, Facebook, D-Live, YouTube, and shortly Twitch here, hopefully. Oops. And, of course, TalkStream Live and JLP Live. Thank you, Jesse Lee Peterson. And it is Tuesday, 9:01 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles. And it is Tuesday, December 29th, 2020. Just a few days of the year left, right? The full rest of this day, the whole of tomorrow, and then the next day, and then Friday is New Year's Day. Wow. And we will be off. So we're live Monday through Thursday, guys. The Hake Report and the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. Nice, right? And of course, we'll be back on Sunday in the new year. Cool, right? So, you can call in 888-775-3773. I'm going to be talking about the alleged double standard that I have for black suspects versus white suspects. And I have a clip, a throwback clip from like 6 months ago or less, maybe more, actually, vindicating myself, I think. Just a couple of minute clip about a male lady who was murdered or killed in Indianapolis, I believe. And speaking of innocent young men, I am going to touch briefly on Kyle, Jack Bauer, John Wick, Rittenhouse. Hat tip to Big Bump, who gave me the tip. He mistakenly called him Kyle Jason-born John Wick Rittenhouse. But I prefer Jack Bauer John Wick Rittenhouse. But thank you. Appreciate that tip. He was interviewed, not he, but his mother and his lawyer, one of his lawyers, I guess, was interviewed by the great Owen Schroyer. Nice. And I have some information from freekyleusa.com. Touching on the black lynch mob in the government, I got a tip from Earl with the squirrel, or something like that, yesterday about this Ohio incident. I told you about it in Hake News. This cop got fired by liberals, of course, for killing a man. Was he too jumpy in killing the man? He was unarmed, turned out, I guess. And he was indeed supposedly black, even though he was very, very, very light-skinned. Maybe I'm lighter than him, though. Lighter skinned. And all kinds of other things. There are, Nick Cannon's has a partner now. You heard about this maybe in the Jesse Lee Peterson Show briefly. And he has 2 kids by her now. One son who looks kind of like a girl, mama's boy, but he is a young boy. And a new powerful queen baby girl. I'm laughing because I can hear Joelle laughing in the background in my memory, in my mind, when Jesse Lee Peterson was reporting on this earlier today. Anyway, guys, all that and your calls, like I said, 888-775-3773. Let's get on with the show.
Have you been naughty or nice?
It's the Hake Report, the Hake Report. It's the Hake Report, the Hake Report.
Hey, guys!
It's the Hake Report, the Hake Report.
So, how are you all doing? I am fine. By the way, that cop allegedly killed a black guy. Allegedly. Yeah. And he's fired for it. I guess it happened yesterday. Or it might have happened early yesterday. But Earl, of course, was right on top of it. Ridiculous. So, quickly, yesterday, one of your favorite callers, T from Alabama, alleged that James Hake was all very nice to this Nashville bomber, you don't want to say, it's so hard for you to say that he's evil. Is he evil, James? And because he's trying to get me to say something, I'm like refusing to say it. And, oh, you showed his high school picture, this Nashville bomber. You showed his high school picture and said he looks like a nice young man, dignified young man or something like that. And I compared him to One Direction. There he is. That's my thumbnail from yesterday's podcast. The colored person, the person in color is me. I'm white. And then the person in like black and white is the Nashville bomber as high school photograph or something. And he's wearing glasses and he looks like he has a not fancy, but a haircut that goes down covering his forehead. And so sometimes I just comment off the cuff about, it's a classic 70s haircut, by the way. Yeah. I comment off the cuff about people's appearance and whether they look like they would do something like what they allegedly did, right? And so I have another example of an incident from this was from my show, Friday, May 1st of this year, 2020. And the title of the episode was Get Away from Angry People. And I also talked about politicized healthcare. But this male lady, Angela Summers, age 45 in, I think, Indianapolis, Indiana. I think she's a single mother. She might be a lesbian. Got killed. Well, she's dead now. She got killed, allegedly by a guy for not delivering a stimulus check. There was this big fight because their dog was out of control and the kids were out of control and this black woman was yelling at her out of control. And who knows, maybe this male lady was a little out of control. Look at her. Redhead, 45 years old, taking selfies. You never know with male men and male ladies these days, right? But she was killed. And so here is me from May of this year commenting on the alleged perpetrator, 21-year-old Tony Cushingberry-Mays, M-A-Y-Z. No relation to our friend Mays. Her first name is M-A-Z-E, Mays. But I'm like, oh, you look so innocent. Well, not innocent, but young and not hardened, babyish face. Let me listen to this clip and tell me if I'm too much different from how I acted with the white. This suspect is black in this May incident. Actually, it was April when it actually happened. And the Nashville bomber, alleged, was white, dead now. This man lives, by the way. He's a young man, 21 years old. Listen to my clip about how I reacted to how he looked and a little bit about the incident. Just a couple of minutes here. Listen to this. The suspect follows her, 21-year-old black man with a tattoo of maybe a woman's name over his eyebrow and tattoos on his neck. Do you have that one? There he is. He looks so innocent. I mean, he doesn't look innocent, but the look on his face, he's so young. He doesn't, well, I mean, he does look like he could probably hurt somebody, but the look on his face is kind of innocent looking, right? Joel, maybe?
You look pretty thuggish to me, but
I mean, you look at the tattoos and the black style hair and all that. Yes. But the look on his face, you can tell he's only like 21.
right, you can tell he's young. Yeah.
And you can tell that he's still got like kind of a innocent, boyish, baby-ish face, I think. In my opinion, he doesn't look hardened, for sure, right? And yeah, he had a gun inside of his pants, and he followed her. Give me my mail, and he doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand that they're not allowed to give you mail if they give you these, control your dog, sign this letter about your dog before we're going to give you your mail. I guess that's the policy, right? And typical white woman following the rules, right? So she ignores him. He goes up to another house's porch where she's delivering mail. She turns around and maces him because she's being followed. And then he pulls a gun and shoots her and kills her. He's like, I meant to scare her, not kill her. Crazy. That's that. Does that prove, as I think that proves T wrong, that I treat blacks any differently from whites based on their appearances? Thank you, guys. Am I right or am I right? Were you guys pressing 2? Is it too loud? I don't think it would be too loud. So I said the Nashville bomber looked like a nice kid when he was a kid. He was 63 when he did this thing. And so T tried to imply I had a double standard in how I treat white perps versus black perps. I just thought of that one. I'm like, I remember being extra nice to this black guy who killed a mail lady over her not delivering mail to his house for days because they refused to sign some letter from the post office saying, hey, control your dog. Because her dog was like harassing her. And by the way, that guy had neck tattoos and a tattoo over he had neck tattoos. I didn't even mention the neck tattoos. And yes, indeed, somebody said face tattoos are for sure hardcore. Yeah, you don't know. Wayne Rhonda says, I always say, don't take maize to a gunfight. So, by the way, a little update on this story that I hadn't covered yet. This came out, like I said, 6 months ago. What I think might be a lesbian, so-called ex, she called herself her ex, named Melanie Mel Davies. Now, Mel can be a male name, but it's short for Melanie. Melanie. And isn't Melanie a woman's name? So I'm thinking this might be or is Melanie ever a man's name? I've heard of Kimberly being a man's name. Did you know that Kimberly is sometimes a man's name? It's also a woman's name. So was this woman a lesbian? Called her ex. She set up I'm saying she, but Melanie Davies, you do the math, set up a GoFundMe for funeral for Angela, this male lady who died back during the early days of the shutdowns, and a future for her daughter, because she left behind a 14-year-old daughter. She was shot on the porch of a neighbor's house, and a 14-year-old girl, quote unquote, our daughter, according to Melanie Davies, not different last name. Ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, what? Also, by the way, I have a picture of a yard sign that was put up in this neighborhood, apparently, maybe by the mother of this suspect. I don't have any real update on the trial, but there was a yard sign for this man accused of killing the letter carrier that was quickly removed. And this yard sign reads, "Free my son. He is a loving father, son, grandson, brother, nephew, and cousin. God is in control." And then it also says, ygsigns.com, advertising, 317 area code. "Free my son, Tony." And there's a picture of the young man with a baby, light-skinned baby. Looks like a light-skinned baby. And flags coming down from the into the yard. Nice green grass in the yard, by the way. Right on. That seems interesting. Typical of a like a mother or a black mother, especially, to try to defend her son who killed somebody, allegedly, right? Allegedly. Anyway, that picture, some of these pictures, right, reminds me of how Black Lives Matter, not Black Lives Matter, actually, the mainstream media, the liberal media, use that little baby picture of Trayvon Martin. I'm exaggerating. It wasn't quite a baby picture. To make him look like an innocent kid, this 17-year-old young thug. He would have embraced the term thug. I think he did embrace, or he called himself a gangster or something. I don't know. Who was attacking, according to eyewitness accounts, or one eyewitness account at least. George Zimmerman. 2 eyewitnesses if you count George. Anyway, speaking of actually innocent young men, before I get to calls, I saw an interview with Kyle, John Wick, Jack Bauer Rittenhouse. He's the young man who went to Kenosha, Wisconsin. He's based in, Illinois, like 15 miles away from Kenosha. I think he might have been working in Kenosha, too. His lawyer, John Pierce, and mother Wendy Rittenhouse. I guess she's a single mother. But he's seemingly a decent young man for having have a single mother. A little fat. But he was interviewed. They were interviewed. John Pierce and Wendy Rittenhouse were interviewed by All I Do Is Owen Schroyer. Hosted on War Room. He's interviewed Jesse Lee Peterson many times on a monthly basis for some time now. So the full exclusive interview is on band.video. Kyle Rittenhouse's mother and lawyer. They're promoting their website, freekyleusa.com. Freekyleusa.com. You can follow if you're on Twitter, which I do recommend it, even if you he's abusing the word allegedly. Hake, Louis Bootsy. Is it Bootsy? Bootsy. What's up, Louis? I think it's Louis. Hake learned the word or expression allegedly, an abused word by the media. Good man, Hake. Thank you. But you can follow Free Kyle USA at Free Kyle USA on Twitter. They are on Twitter. They also have like one post on Instagram. And I think there's a YouTube channel as well. They have links to their YouTube videos on freekyleusa.com. I have a couple of screenshots from their website. On their website, by the way, they share a video, an 11-minute video. It's, of course, age-restricted by the evil YouTube. It might be a little graphic, I guess. I'm not sure. I haven't watched the whole thing. But it probably just, if anybody watches it, no honest person can say, oh, he's a murderer, he's a this or that. You know, the dumb stuff that Tony from California, I point to the phones, Tony from California, the goofy so-called trucker, one of the black truckers, but not the sensible black trucker. Shout out Cordell. Cordell's a sensible guy. Not so with Tony. Tony's nice, but he's evil. Not nice to Kyle. Calls him a murderer. I think he might even call him a racist, but I don't know. As if that means anything, right? But anybody who watches the footage of this incident in Kenosha, Wisconsin, from when was that? Was that August or something like that? It was like a week or so after the shooting of that black guy. I'm blanking on his name, but he was shot several times, or at least maybe 4 or 5 times in the back. 4 or 5 of the bullets reportedly hit him. I think the officer fired 7 or 8 times. Interesting, huh? Pretty close to point blank range, but he was resisting arrest, fighting with the cops, had a knife. Either he had it on him, or he was going into his car to grab it, or a car to grab it. And they said, according to the eyewitness account, the guy who videotaped the thing, a guy who's not pro-police, said the cops said, drop the knife, drop the knife, drop the knife, or at least once or twice. And apparently the man did not drop the knife and he got shot. And he's, from what I heard, paralyzed. I don't know if it's temporary or permanent from the waist down. His father drove up. His father's all a mess. Mother involved. And I think that he had warrants for his arrest for other crimes. Alleged crimes, right, of course. But after that incident, more riots. Kenosha, Wisconsin. I heard of Kenosha because my older sister ran cross-country races over there for like national championships or something like that. Kenosha. It's like sort of boonies-ish. It's not like a big town. You don't expect it to be a bunch of Antifa people. Black Lives Matter evil people. But sure enough, they're all over the place, like cockroaches. Evil people. And those evil people, many of them, attacked Kyle Rittenhouse, who was trying to, protect businesses. He had been photographed by, among a crowd, by reporters, cleaning up graffiti earlier in the day, I think. After a night or two of riots, Kenosha riots, and he ended up having to defend himself and shot his attackers, and nobody else did he shoot, by the way, in self-defense. One hit him with a skateboard and grabbed at his gun. Got shot in the torso and killed. Another was threatening him and saying, "Shoot me, N-word." This white Jewish guy. And he was videotaped saying that, and then, not taped, but recorded, right? And then later he's like chasing him and threw a bag or a Molotov cocktail or something at him as he's chasing him, allegedly, right? It looked like that on camera. And then, according to eyewitness account, he was grabbing at Kyle's gun. And Kyle shot him in self-defense. Crazy, huh? And then another guy came up to him with a handgun and thankfully shot John Wick, Jack Bauer, Kyle Rittenhouse. Shot him in the arm. And he couldn't hold the gun. Crazy footage. So I can kind of understand that it would be age restricted if it's graphic at all, Anyway, here's a statement on freekyleusa.com. After 2 nights of intense rioting, 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse volunteered to help protect local businesses as certified lifeguard in Kenosha County. Nice, huh? Wisconsin. Even though he lived in Illinois. He worked in Kenosha, certified lifeguard. He brought his medical expertise and medical kit with him to assist with potential injuries and a firearm to protect himself. Nice. He was notified of cars being intentionally lit on fire by a group of rioters bent on chaos. He responded to the area with a fire extinguisher, upsetting the violent mob. So was that him after all? I think that he may have been the one who put out a dumpster fire that they had started, and they were trying to roll it into cars. This dumpster fire is based on what I saw and what was said in footage, right? About footage. He was stalked and brutally attacked. Kyle was forced to defend his life. 2 of his attackers died and a third was wounded. In less than 48 hours, the Kenosha County District Attorney, without any meaningful investigation, charged Kyle with intentional homicide and other serious felonies, ignoring the clear video evidence of self-defense. If convicted, Kyle could spend the rest of his life in prison. The God-given and constitutional right to self-defense is now on trial in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I think they were trying to get the trial to take place somewhere else because it's too hot over there. But with globalism, it's hot everywhere, right? Kyle needs your help. Donate today, they say. Remember, they had to pay, the bail was set at $2 million, which I think means that they had to raise $200,000. Usually they have to raise 10% of it, from what I understand. $2 million bail for self-defense, really? And this guy, I didn't know this, but there's a list of true facts about Kyle Rittenhouse's case in the website, freekyle.com. I didn't know it, but come to think about it, I did see it happening. He tried to turn himself in. He was not a flight risk. He tried to turn himself into the cops right then and there. Remember him seen raising his hands in front of the police cars, and they just basically told him to go home, according to his lawyer, John Pierce, who looks like one of the honest lawyers, one of the few, right? Who knows? The supposedly incoming president, Joe Biden, implied, if not outright called him, a white supremacist. Ridiculous. There's all kinds of speculation. Oh, he's a white supremacist. Based on nothing that I've seen. Which, by the way, it's an American right to be a white supremacist or a black supremacist or whatever, right? It's an American right. Especially if you're like pro-America. It's an American right, unless you're committing some type of treason or something. But it's an American right. It is the First Amendment. You can be a dumb supremacist if you want. This is America. But it's not allowed in the communist takeover, infecting us. But this guy's not. So, true facts. By the way, the Wendy and Kyle Rittenhouse, Wendy the mother and Kyle the son, 17. Going on 18, I heard. January 3rd, I think he turns 18. We're finally reunited after 87 days apart. Maybe that was okay for him. The mother's, she said that she's turning into a mama bear. Single mother, by the way. But I didn't know this. I have this True Facts, Free Kyle USA, True Facts. I have the screenshot of the website. And it says, misinformation on social media only divides our country. And by the way, like, I think Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, I think Facebook classifies this incident as a mass shooting. A mass shooting. Lumping it in the same category, basically, if they're going to call it that, that gives the connotations of, like, the Batman theater shooting. Remember that Batman theater shooting in Aurora, Colorado with that guy who was, people thought that he was idolizing the Joker or whatever? They put it in the same category as shooting innocent people who are just at some public place, as opposed to defending yourself from rioters who are violently attacking you. Anti-American people, by the way. They're Black Lives Matter supporting Antifa people. So, here is some correction on the information, according to freekyle.com. If you want to do your own research and so-called fact-check them, you can. But this is what they say, and I tend to think that they're going to tell the truth. We are here to stop the misinformation and set the true and accurate record for Kyle concerning the night of August 25th, 2020 in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Did Kyle cross state lines with a firearm? I always say that he did not, right? And they say no. Kyle did not cross state lines with a firearm. The state of Illinois declined to charge Kyle because he possessed the firearm only while in Wisconsin. But they charged the guy who supplied it to him. That young man, I think he was 17 or 18 or 19, who supplied him with the gun. Which is, you have the right to do that. Did Kyle's mom drive to Kenosha that night? No. Kyle spent the night at a friend's house in Kenosha the night before. Reports that imply Wendy dropped Kyle off the night of the incident are 100% false. I hadn't heard that one. Did Kyle go to Kenosha to commit violence? No. He went to Kenosha to provide medical aid and help protect private property from further destruction. And boy, was there destruction in the 2 days prior. I think it was 2 days prior that were rioting. I know somebody who was interviewed by Jesse Lee Peterson a few times now. And he knows people. He has businesses in Kenosha, or a business in Kenosha. And he said that the destruction is crazy of businesses. Nuts. He went to Kenosha to provide medical aid and help protect private property from further destruction at the request of a local business owner. There you have it. Is Kyle a white supremacist? No, categorically false. There is zero evidence to support this outrageous claim. Kyle is a patriotic American who bravely tried to defend his community. He is pro-police. Nice. Blue Lives Matter type of guy. In other words, a decent American young man. Did Kyle try and evade police? No. Kyle is seen in multiple videos walking towards the police with his arms raised to surrender. Kyle turned himself in at the police station shortly after the incident. You heard about, he went home rather than turning himself in. No, he tried to turn himself in. Liars. Did Kyle have an illegal gun? No. Kyle was carrying a legal semi-automatic AR-15 style long barrel rifle. As a 17-year-old, Kyle was legally entitled to open carry the firearm under the Wisconsin law. There you have it. Lying, sleazy liberals want to assume the worst about whites who don't go along with the Black Lives Matter lies. So, freekyleusa.com. Check it out. It has interesting info. And by the way, speaking of Black Lives Matter lynch mobs, look at that. And they quote James Monroe on the website. The right to self-defense never ceases. It is among the most sacred and alike necessary to nations and to individuals. And that's a quote from James Monroe, who, that sounds like one of the founding fathers. Maybe he was a president at one point. James Monroe. American statesman, lawyer, diplomat, founding father who served as the 5th president of the United States from 1817 to 1825. He fought in the American Revolutionary War, reportedly, right? So, right on James Monroe. Better man than most of the so-called statesmen these days, the so-called public servants, am I right? Disgusting. So, there was another incident between cops and so-called blacks. And I say so-called because this guy is hardly black. It's wild. I got this from that tip from Earl yesterday. Remember Earl, my second favorite caller? Yes, sue them for slander or libel, Canadian David says. I agree. Referring to Kyle Rittenhouse's thing. I did a report on James Monroe in 6th grade, says Misty Loca. Yeah, the Epic Times reported on that tip that you may have heard on the Hake report yesterday. If you didn't skip Earl's call, some of you guys like to skip Earl's call. I give timestamps. I set up the timestamps afterwards, after the show ends, to when such and such person calls, right? And when I touch on which topic, I write them down for the podcast and for the YouTube post and for the Facebook post. And for YouTube, you can click on the timestamp and it'll skip in the video to that place, right? It's a nice explanation for the boomers' sake, right? Some of you guys already know that. But the Epic Times reported on this Columbus, Ohio officer, Adam Coy's firing in last week's Andre Hill shooting. And Earl seemed to try to imply that Adam Coy was guilty of something because he was fired. And I said, no, it doesn't mean anything. Lots of people are fired for unjust reasons nowadays, namely politics, especially when it's a purported black guy who's allegedly killed by the officer, right? And here's a headline: Columbus, Ohio officer who shot the unarmed black man, and they capitalized the first letter of the word black, which is not correct. They're trying to make it correct by changing the custom. Black man fired. The officer who shot the unarmed black man was fired as the family demands justice. No, they don't demand justice. They call it justice, but it's not justice that they want. They are sleazy people. And you want proof? I'm going to give you proof by way of a very valid argument called, what is it called when you go after a person themselves rather than the argument that they're trying to make? Whatever, by going after the person rather than the argument they're trying to make. Benjamin Crump is involved. Anything with Benjamin Crump involved, you know they're not for justice. Benjamin Crump is a sleazy lawyer who is, yeah, if that guy's black, then Chris is Malcolm X, says Chris. He's like, if this guy is black, there was a picture we were just showing of this guy who got killed, Andre Hill. And Andre Hill has a bald head, very, very, very light-skinned, but he has like a kind of a defined face and a kind of a blackish expression, but his nose is pretty much white, maybe a little black in the nose in terms of the shape of the nose. His eyebrows, I mean, his forehead might be like a little black. It looks kind of like 50 Cent's forehead, you know, it has a little bit of creases in it. And his mustache, he has a goatee, right, in this picture. He's dead now, but he has this, who was shot dead. I think that may have been an unfortunate mistake. I don't know if the cop did anything wrong. I don't know. Obviously, if he was unarmed and not posing a threat, I don't know. Chris says his ancestors must be from the tippy top of Africa, or he might be mostly white. I don't know. I guess if you have any white in you, you can come out kind of light. But you can kind of tell that he's black based on his mustache because it's shaved up at the top of his mustache and not shaved at the top of his lip. Just below his nose is shaved. You know how blacks like to kind of shape their facial hair more so than whites? But I mean, I could see he has a little black in him, maybe. Now that they say it. But he just looks like a tough-looking white guy. To me. Or maybe part Hispanic, right? Poor guy, man. He was 1 a.m. last Tuesday. I say poor guy, but I don't know. 1 a.m. last Tuesday, he was supposedly at a friend's house, and there was a call from a neighbor, non-emergency call from a neighbor, of a person turning on the car, running the car, turning it off, and doing that several times in front of this neighbor's house, right? Officers arrive, and this Adam Coy, former officer Adam Coy, he's been fired now, right? The mayor was calling for his firing the same day that this thing happened, last Tuesday, the 22nd of December. And reportedly, Adam Coy didn't turn on his body cam, right? There's all this liberal push to push body cams. And there's some decent guys pushing for body cams, too. Who's that guy? Ogre from, I think, Michigan has called my show and said, yes, we need body cams. You can't trust police or whatever, right? You know? You can't trust people period, now. But the lay person doesn't know how to interpret what he's seeing, right? By the lay person, I mean non-cops don't know what they're looking at. They if they're predisposed to be gracious to the cops, they're going to be judge this video footage more graciously or suspend judgment. If they are predisposed to hate cops and take up for poor innocent blacks or supposedly poor innocent whites or whatever, then they're going to judge the cops' handling of the situation based on the footage when they know nothing about what they're looking at. So he didn't turn on the body cam until after he shot this guy. This guy, there's a still, I don't have the video footage, but I have the video still of him holding up his phone, I guess for light, holding up his phone with his left hand, I think. And his right hand is not visible. This is you can't even really call him a suspect. Just the person who they encountered, right? Andre Hill. I don't see his hands. Show me your hands. I would be very concerned as a cop at 1 a.m. encountering this guy. Big guy, by the way. You can't tell that he's black, by the way, in this thing. Maybe his voice sounds black. Since he was identified as a dead black guy, maybe he sounded black. But you can't tell that this guy's black from this blurry, fuzzy, shaky image given by the Columbus police officers. But they shot him. Or Adam Coy shot him. To me, just based on this picture, it might have been a justified shooting. Because when you can't see their hands, you don't know what's going to happen. Remember that footage that I showed you guys with that white guy who was acting all pathetic and on drugs, not wanting to get out of his car? And the two officers are trying to drag him out, and they're being kind of weak and soft about it. One of them is cussing, but there was more bark than bite. And the guy shot them both, killed one of them. And it was after minutes and minutes and minutes of this guy acting pathetic and pleading, and one libertarian, I call it law for LOL, right? Laughing out loud, because it's libertarianism to me and to many of you is a joke. One libertarian guy said, oh, the cops violated his rights by trying to drag him out of the car. You have to live in the world, as Alexandria Cortez said, who drove Ubers or rode in a bunch of Ubers, even though she pushes the Green New Deal, right? You have to live in the world. But Adam Coy, I guess, is white. I haven't even really seen a picture of Adam Coy before. But Andre Hill was killed on last Tuesday. They didn't give him aid right away, right? Oh, these cops have to give him first aid right away. It was several minutes before they did first aid. Well, excuse me, you don't know what else is going to happen, right? There can be a reasonable explanation that you don't give first aid right away. And what is this soft stuff like giving people that you don't have a clue if they're dangerous or not, and you don't have a clue if there's anybody else, if it's an ambush or what? This was a non-emergency call. Is he supposed to turn on his body cam for a non-emergency call all the time? This is a liberal push to, it's kind of like Trump's taxes, right? We all know there's nothing wrong, really, with Trump's taxes. But we all know that the liberals want it so that they can scrutinize and misinterpret something to come up with a fake scandal, right? Same thing, in my opinion, with this whole film the police thing, this body cam footage thing. There are misguided people. There's nice black guys who've called Jesse's show. There was one guy who called Jesse's show just maybe this month or last month who says that he films the police all the time, and how should he pray for God to protect him while he films the police and he's getting harassed by police. Well, maybe you don't need to be so concerned with the cops. Hake is murdering that name. Which name? But, yeah, from what I understand, I might have heard, I don't remember, with this body cam footage, that it didn't have audio to it because he turned it on late, and it actually has this memory thing where it's always recording, so it'll record the minute before that you turned it on. Interesting, huh? Interesting. So they have the minute before, and so they have the footage of the shooting. It's crazy. Let me show you some of the grandstanding mess. I mentioned this in Hake News. The Columbus police chief is a guy named Thomas Quinion, or Quinlan, who he's probably 100% white or maybe Jewish or something. But this guy, police chief, you know that in general that means politician, right? That doesn't mean a cop. It doesn't mean a cop. It means a politician. Somebody who's after power, a grandstander, and this is how he sounds. He said in a statement on yesterday, that the evidence provided solid rationale for termination. Mr. Coy will now have to answer to the state investigators for the death of Andre Hill. Wow, this is going to the state. And somebody else said that it may go to the feds. Look at this guy. He looks like he could be brothers with the purported victim, the deceased. Doesn't he look like he could be related to Andre Hill? Even though this guy's probably not any amount black. I just thought that was kind of funny. Police chief says the firing of Officer Adam Coy is what accountability looks like. When anybody says this is what accountability looks like, almost anybody, right? In case Trump ever says it. then you know that they are politicians. They're not honest people. He said this is what accountability looks like. Grandstander. And so he passed it on to this Columbus public safety director who is black, Ned Pettis Jr. Ned Pettis Jr. said in a statement that Coy was fired hours after a hearing was held to determine his employment status. And he put out this phony statement too. I got this all from a lot of this from the Epoch Times. And it's just posturing. He said, the actions of Adam Coy do not live up to the oath of a Columbus police officer, or the standards we in the community demand of our officers. The shooting of Andre Hill is a tragedy for all who loved him, in addition to the community and our division of police. Hill's family and so-called family, I don't know how much of a family he really has or had, and their attorney, Benjamin Crump. If you are black and want what's right, here's a tip to the blacks. Don't hire this sleazy scumbag. He has actually a kind of a bad record. He did not really win for, I don't think he really won for, because he wasn't on the side of what's right, for Trayvon Martin's so-called family. He did not win, although they got a lot of money. Did Trayvon Martin's family, so-called family, get a lot of money? I think they're making money. I mean, they're national figures, and this woman is appearing alongside Hillary Clinton and in like Netflix fake documentaries and things like that, right? I don't know if it's Netflix specifically. Or the Michael Brown's mother making all kinds of money. They got a settlement from the city when the city should actually dock them because they caused some trouble, not just through their son, but through the riots over their son. But anyway, Benjamin Crump and the so-called family put out a statement. The Columbus Department of Public Safety made the correct decision to terminate Officer Adam Coy today. We look forward to reviewing all the body cam footage and determining everything that happened leading to Andre Hill's death. We need to redefine a relationship between police and communities of color in which it doesn't turn deadly for a black person with a cell phone. At least he didn't capitalize black. Maybe that's the Epoch Times who didn't capitalize it. With a cell phone to encounter law enforcement officers. So Coy is under criminal investigation. And I don't know if he's been charged, but he's been fired. And there was a statement issued by the Columbus mayor, a Democrat, Andrew Ginther. Did you happen to show the black guy, Pettis Jr.? There he is. This is a headline from earlier in the year. Columbus safety director sees himself in today's youth. Fears stereotyping hurts them and police. So this guy's an activist. He's not for real public safety. Look at him. That's the Columbus, Ohio public safety director. Sleazy people. Anyway, Andrew Ginther. Andrew Ginther is the mayor of Columbus, a Democrat. And this guy, it came out the same day that this thing happened. Last Tuesday. Happened Tuesday morning. And this guy came out with this dumb statement saying that he needs to be fired because he didn't have his, what is that thing called? Body cam on. Really? I haven't heard whether that's department policy, right? That you have to have your body cam for every non-emergency call. Granted, it's 1 a.m., and granted, it is Columbus, Ohio. Meaning black. And it is a little odd to be turning on the car and turning it off again. Somebody said that that's to keep warm, I guess, in the car. I don't know. Sleazy mayor also mentioned potential federal charges from the U.S. Department of Justice, the DOJ, under a even under a Trump administration, because the DOJ is so filled with deep state liberals, dumb liberals, SJWs, they could, remember they sent the FBI to that race NASCAR driver, that mixed race black NASCAR driver who said he saw a noose, a noose that couldn't even hang my wrist. Maybe. I could probably not even fit my hand through that so-called noose. It was a garage door pull fashioned like a noose. Oh, isn't that cute? Who cares? Fake. So you really want the DOJ involved? These people, remember under the DOJ, Obama's DOJ? You think Biden's DOJ is going to be any better? Obama's DOJ had Eric Holder, who outright came and said he wants to brainwash the people, brainwash the masses against guns. He said that before he was ever Attorney General, and he did not turn over any new leaf. He was anti-gun. That's why he did that. I don't know. He acted like Obama's wingman. But remember the Fast and Furious thing? That may have predated Obama, but it happened under the Obama administration. A border agent, an American border agent, I think Brian Terry or something like that, was killed by guns that so-called we, meaning American corrupt deep state, was running to Mexico, Mexican drug cartels, I think. Ridiculous. Obama was never impeached for it or for any of the other scandals with Obama. And Eric Holder was Obama's wingman. And then Loretta Lynch, she went for the death penalty because of the racist murder of those church people, right? By that white guy who was mad because all this drama about racism when black on white crime is more prevalent than the other way around. So no, the DOJ should not get involved. Andrew Ginther is a liar and a mess. So, of course, that was politics that he's fired for. It's not for actual justice. Anyway, let me get to T in Alabama. He wants to comment on why race is so important in this story. That's interesting. T, how are you doing?
Doing fine, man. Doing good.
Nice.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just curious, James. Why is it that everything about your show, man, is about black and white? And
because everything really so much about America today is about black and white. In fact, this story, you bring up an interesting point. This story really, in terms of what actually matters, doesn't have anything to do with black and white, except for the corrupt intentions of probably many of the politicians, including likely that public safety director, and probably the Democrat mayor, and of course Black Lives Matter and Benjamin Crump. Do you think Benjamin Crump would be representing a white guy? I'm sure he's probably represented some degenerate whites, but do you think he would be so eager to be involved in this case if it were a truly white guy rather than just a light-skinned black?
No. I mean, he wouldn't be decided to be in the case unless it's something having to do with a race issue. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan of Benjamin Crump.
Nice.
You know, I think he's just a leech, and I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not one of those people, man. See,
right on.
This thing that you got to understand about me, man. Like I said, I'm not a color person. Okay,
that's cool.
I'm not a color person. I'm about what's right and what's wrong.
Cool.
Okay.
Is that why you like? Is that why you like the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Hake Report so much?
No.
Is that why you listen to us?
Despise, your boss man because of his ignorance. Because he's about color.
No, he's about simple right and wrong. He really is.
No, he's not. No, he's not, man.
Well, are you?
Again, I don't want to bring Jesse up because he told me not to bring his name up.
I respect it. I don't mind a little bringing it up. But getting on to why you called, you think race is important to this story? You're asking me why is race so important to this story? Yeah,
because I mean, I understand the premise, but I'm just understanding why is race, skin color Because, like I said, there's not such thing as white people. It's a name of, how y'all guys used to like to use the term made-up words.
Right.
White people is a made-up group of people, right? You're not actually a white person. You know that, right?
Are you dehumanizing us?
No,
there are many people who would take offense at that.
Well,
there are many people who would take offense at that.
Yeah, because they're ignorant to the facts of why the term white people was first came into.
We've become, by we, I mean, many people have become all too inclusive in what we're referring to when we say white.
Name another country. Do Japanese call themselves black Japanese or?
They don't have
Japanese?
the diversity problem that we have.
Right. So so why does it have to be like that? Name another country
because we have a diversity problem.
Well, because we
Chinese. By the way, the Chinese, they call themselves yellow. In fact, Wong means yellow, I think.
Okay, but I don't ever hear people say those yellow people.
Oh yeah, you do. You ever heard that?
No, I don't.
Born in the USA by that liberal Obama lover. He talks about Bruce Springsteen sings about going off to kill the yellow man in the war. Not that he wanted to.
But that's an American man that's saying that. I'm talking about the Japanese or Chinese people.
Right, because they say it in Chinese. They say Wong.
Okay.
Their whole family name is Wong. That means yellow. It might be the reference to the Yellow River, but I don't know. They call themselves yellow. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. Don't you listen to Jesus Loves the Little Children Sunday school song? Mexicans are brown proud.
Yeah, so Mexicans call themselves, brown people, huh?
Yeah.
I don't hear them call themselves. I don't hear them referred by most people as brown people.
They usually when they're calling America racist, they say we went over to the Middle East to kill brown Muslims because they hate America, they hate whites. So,
but don't you understand the history of the term white people, man?
A little bit, yeah. I understand that as diversity came into America, which we brought you people over here, and so we said, I think is the term white actually mentioned in that rule about immigration? Only white Europeans of good character. Did it say white back then even? It may or may not have said white specifically.
As far as this being the United States of America, white people didn't exist before, the Constitution. Have you noticed that in the Constitution and all that stuff, it doesn't even mention white people?
It's because we didn't have the diversity problem that we have today.
Well, no, you had it back then.
What do you think of me? What do you think of me calling it a diversity problem?
No, I think it's just a class problem that we have in this country, man.
Oh, okay, Bernie.
No, it's true, Jay. If you just that's the reason.
Do you believe that racism exists? Do you agree that racism doesn't exist? Or do you think it exists
now because people have made it exist? Yeah.
So in reality, you're saying it only exists because of people's imagination.
Class system, everything exists because pretty much your imagination, man. If you want to look at color and all this, it's a made up term. Okay.
It's based in common experience, man.
You're not a white person.
Yes, man. I am.
Okay. No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You're not.
Yes, I am.
But do you understand why that term came to be, man? Are you familiar with Bacon's rebellion?
Bacon's Rebellion? No.
Yeah, Bacon's Rebellion.
No, is that in America?
You need to read up on that. Yeah, that's before we became the United States of America.
All right, thank you for the tip.
You need to read up on that.
I don't need to do anything but stay white and live.
You're not white, man. So, you're not a special group of people, okay?
Whoa, you're not special either, T.
No, I'm not. I don't call myself special.
Good.
That's you guys, think
I don't call myself special. What the heck?
Yes, you do. You think. Jesse makes you think you're special. that
Whatever.
you're God,
No, he
your
doesn't.
chosen people and so
You don't
forth.
know Jesse.
Yes, he does, man. Yes, he does.
No.
You know, he give y'all credit for every single thing in the world, man.
I mean, the ancestors. It was the ancestors. We was.
Nah, like I said, he give you so-called
We was
white
Western
people
civilization builders.
all the credit. Yeah, y'all did it all on your own.
But not
Nobody else
anymore.
helped
I mean,
you.
I didn't build anything.
Well, I'm glad you admit that. You know, I'm glad you
But
admit
the
that.
ancestors did. Anyway, T.
But anyway, man,
Do you see that it's
do
not?
your history, man.
Do you see that
Do your
my
history so you know who you really are.
whatever? I mean,
You're
it's
not
not
white.
who. It's what. It's what.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're not white, man. You're not white. So all you white listeners out there, you don't exist. Okay.
Wow, that's weird.
There's not a such thing as
Reminds
white
me of that
people.
guy that said Jewish people don't exist, aren't real.
You know,
Anyway, T.
but seriously.
T. Let's get to the story in brief, and then I gotta take a break and then get back to calls. So, do you see that the liberals are making this a race thing? Like, I mean, they're the ones who hired Benjamin Crump, who you just
Yeah, I
admitted he's a
understand.
leech.
I mean, look, I understand.
And they
exactly what
protested.
these people
I have pictures of them protesting with this guy's name. The only reason that they would do that is because he's so-called black. That's my speculation.
That's exact. Well, I mean, that's the exact reason why, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I mean, because we are a country, we are built on, emotions.
Right.
And the biggest emotion in this country is between the so-called black and the white.
Right.
Okay.
One of the
Bottom
biggest.
line.
Yep. Yeah.
It is deep.
So that's my reaction to it. I'm just trying to break it down to right and wrong and point out that they're black because many of these blacks are not. They're based in blackness and this liberal fake social justice thing, and so are the Democrats. So that's what my response is, man.
Both sides been fooled by the Satan himself, man. The Satan his biggest tool to use in this country is using color.
Yeah.
And that's what he's been doing for hundreds of years.
You agree Black Lives Matter is evil?
I don't know anything. No, I don't like their ideas. No, I think they're a stupid, ridiculous organization.
Yeah. Anyway, man, nice call.
I think they're a ridiculous organization.
Right. I agree. Thank you, T. Merry Christmas to you. Merry belated Christmas. And we'll talk again.
Happy New Year to you, man.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas
You
to
too.
you. Yeah. Later.
All right. I'll be back, guys. We're well into the second hour. I have Mandla in South Africa coming up next, and Jose and others. A little bit other topics as well. But hang tight. By the way, Trump is the most admired man in 2020, according to Gallup and the Epoch Times. Nice. Well deserved, I think. But I'll be back for the rest of hour 2. Hang tight for just a couple of minutes here. I'll be right back.
Like a thief in the night, they'll take away what's left of us. Burning landslides lighting up the sky in front of all of us. Summer fire, heavy heart taking over, leading me to my grave. And I don't know what to think of what I told you, but tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is another day. Fall away. Let the ashes of these memories turn to gray. Stall the pain and let go of all your emptiness so love remains. Like a bird on a flying sky, watch the clouds as they pass on by. Soar from the earth with no fear, and no need to hold on to you, dear. But I'm afraid that I won't come down, 'cause it feels like having you around, like it was back then, when you and me, we were the best of friends. Summer fire, heavy heart taking over, leading me to my grave. And I don't know what to think of what I told you, but tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is another day. Fall away. Let the ashes of these memories turn to gray. Stop the pain and let go of all your emptiness, so love remains.
That song is Summer Fire by Bright Lights, parentheses, John Parfitt, Jon Parfitt, Parfitt. One P. I said P twice because I didn't pronounce it correctly. That song is actually on the Get a Job channel, and it appeared in the Fallen State episode. Where he interviewed people from, Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed people at around MacArthur Park in L.A., which is a very dirty place now. Interesting, huh? I think so. Ghetto now. Yeah, it used to be beautiful. Summer Fire by Bright Lights. So, let me get to... Oh, let me just double check the super chats. Thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson hosting the Hake Report on DLive. Nice. Appreciate it. DLive.tv/the Hake Report for my channel. Noah's Ark, Kansas with a diamond. Appreciate the support. And thank you to Dark Side of the Bear What gifting a subscription. Congrats to King_Wolf12. Right on. Just double check the streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. Thank you for the support, everybody. Let me get to Mandla, who's been on hold from South Africa, wants to talk about stop and frisk and black Americans. Mandla, what's up?
Yes. Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Hake.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Coming in a little muffled as usual,
Okay.
but we'll lean forward and listen closely to you. Might have to turn him up a little so that people can understand. Go for it.
I was just saying that the stop and frisk is a necessary evil. It is like it's just like free speech. It's a necessary evil. It's just like a racial profiling, which is not actually racial. It's like a necessary evil, so that you can get rid of crime.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do it. And people take offense to like methods that have been proven to work, because that's what took down the mafias.
Okay, really? You said racial profiling of the... I almost said...
Yeah, profiling. Okay, the profiling.
Of the Italians?
Profiling, but then...
Profiling of the Italians?
Yeah, no. It was profiling. Yeah, so that's what actually took them down.
Okay.
If they didn't do stop and frisk, and they were the way that what do you call that? The liberals say that they should be, then they wouldn't have taken down the Italians.
Okay.
So I'm saying that them like actually fighting against the stop and frisk and saying that racial profiling is bad,
right?
Then they won't be able to fight against the problems that are in the hood, in the places where like black kids are getting killed, like very young kids, and no one actually goes out and like marches. There's no like big media attention. Like at least if an old man gets killed by a cop, he's old. He's not like as innocent as a kid. So I feel like it's a shame, actually.
It's a shame that which one is a shame?
Like that the kids are dying and no one cares. And they care more about an old man passing on or being so-called unfairly treated more than a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, people
killed.
are very selective with their fake outrage. And they're very controlled by propaganda. That's so true. And directed by media attention.
Yeah.
You know, it's so ridiculous that people are, you know, the Italians have this victim mentality left over. You hear that one of the Cuomos referring to himself as being called a N-word wop, which is the N-word, and then wop, W-O-P, is without papers. Kind of like a fob in Asian. We used to call them fobs for fresh off the boat. Yeah. Especially if they didn't speak good English and stuff like that. And then like the blacks or the Hispanics or the Irish, when they have such a prominent, these groups come in to our country and they have a prominent criminal element. What do you expect but extra suspicion on you? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That is the only way to do it. Exactly. That was my point about stereotypes. Stereotypes, if you do not follow a stereotype, you will die. Because if you go to the hood and say that, no, I'm not going to follow the stereotype, I'm going to look at every black person as an individual, you'll die.
Right.
If you have to until that like person proves you wrong or breaks you, you know.
Right.
Oh, he is different or something. Otherwise, you'll die. Those are stupid thought process. That's a stupid process.
Yeah, very true. There's this weird pressure from inside of whites to go out of their way, bend over backwards to appear trusting and not racist. It's like ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It is stupid.
It is beyond stupid. I don't know why they do that.
It's a trauma.
It is stupid.
They were brainwashed from childhood to believe in this fake racism thing and that it's so bad to be commonsensical when everybody else is quite commonsensical.
I think also your previous caller is kind of ridiculous with his, because that's how we like classify animals and stuff.
Right.
So how are you going to classify? How are you going to identify the criminal that stole something from you? Are you just going to say that person and not identify the race?
You have to.
Kind of ridiculous.
You have to be able to describe people based on their appearances and descriptions and stuff. And and by the way, I'm the last person to come at with that stuff, this get away from white versus black stuff. Tell the whole rest of the world who's supporting the Black Lives Matter stuff.
Exactly.
Not us.
Exactly, because we have to speak about these things because they are like actually bringing them to the forefront.
Right. Exactly.
We have no choice. Yeah. So actually the what was I saying about that? I actually lost my train of thought in terms of you were speaking about The only problem that I don't want to use the racism argument, but I have a problem with this term brown people because it's a bit strange. So then what does it make black people? Why do they use the term brown? I don't understand it.
I think that they seem to be, some blacks are calling themselves brown now, and then there are.
That's my point, because they are brown. Black people are brown, but then if now other races use that term as brown, because that was never used. I don't get it.
When I was in high school, that was my first exposure to brown people. To being not to brown people, but to Hispanics calling themselves brown. One guy called himself Brown Pride. He said Brown Pride. No. And then after the Iraq War, in the Iraq War, they called them brown people. And then what's her name? Michelle Malkin calls herself a brown. Michelle Malkin calls herself a brown woman. What a mess.
No, there's no such thing as a brown person. There's no such thing as that.
Oh no,
Because like all
I
of
don't know,
these
you
things
kinda-
are racist. So
Yeah.
like if they call you black, it's not because of your skin color, it's your race. So there's no such thing as a brown person.
there is, but it
It's a
just
race.
doesn't give you much context because you don't know if they're Hispanic or
Exactly,
Indian.
that's my point.
Yeah, but you have to be able to,
That's my point.
like you said, you have to be able to describe people.
That's my point.
Yeah.
No, that's my point. I'm saying that when you use black, brown, it's not a race.
Right. Yeah, it's
Because
not.
they are
It doesn't
brown.
indicate
Those
which
are
race.
Shades. Those are shades. Those are color. Yeah, those are shades.
Right.
It's not a race.
Yep.
Black, it is meant to indicate a race.
Yeah.
Because there are like different shades of black.
Right.
But brown, I don't understand it. It's a weird term that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also my last point is about South Africa. It seems like we are not really doing good with the COVID.
That's what I've heard.
Situation.
I've heard that. I heard that the UK banned travel from South Africa because you guys have a mutated virus and the UK has a mutated virus, and Tulsi Gabbard over here wants to ban travel from the UK, and the UK, I heard, banned travel from South Africa, which I just said.
Yeah, but that's a good thing on their part. But
Yeah.
I feel like they're not giving enough information to the citizens, like as in what supplements to take, like especially for us, the dark people. We tend to lose our ability to have like vitamin D, so they should be
Which
advising
people?
to take.
Which people are you?
Dark.
Dark
Africans,
people.
like
Blacks don't make
black people,
vitamin D?
Yeah, because the charts they show that like the vitamin D levels fall as we age,
Wow.
and like you
didn't know that.
like vitamin D is a critical thing to have to
All
fight
right.
the virus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think also like there are times where the like I do like respect you guys' opinions about like the whole COVID thing, but I'm saying like as a grown individual, people have to decide for themselves and not follow blindly. Like the way Trump said it, that he doesn't wear the masks all the time, but when he sees that I'm in a space where it is a bit risky,
exactly,
then I would wear it. So
right.
I'm saying people should not try to like test God. You know,
I agree with
like,
that.
having unprotected sex or something like that. You know, they're trying to test God's will. Yeah,
That's a fair point,
thank
Mandla.
you.
Appreciate it, man. Good to hear from you. All right.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, take care. Interesting. Yeah, protect yourselves, people. Whether it's this COVID thing or whatever. Colin Barrett says, Tulsi is a pretty lady, but I don't trust her. Yeah, I do not trust her. Refutile says, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, right? I don't want to dox her, but I think that's Mary from San Antonio. Refutal says, gave a diamond and said, nice song. You looking good. Thank you. And appreciate you, Dark Side of the Bear What, hosting the Hake Report on D Live. Very nice. Let me get to Jose in Miami, Florida, saying the media is brainwashing people. Jose, what's up?
Hello, could you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in great, actually.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I've been looking at the Twitter from Trump and his Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's always saying, oh, independent fact checkers say this is false. Oh, this is false information. Oh, Joe Biden is the new president. I'm like, bro, can you please give this man a break? Like, what? I don't see any of that in the other section.
Yeah.
And it shows how much like how they're trying to control you.
Right. You know, it's so. You know, we would be much more aggressive. I think our side would be much more aggressive. I think I would be, if it weren't for this, in terms of pushing the election integrity issues, let's call them. If it weren't outright banned or forbidden by YouTube and in some cases Twitter and Facebook and all that. Yeah.
These people are just trying to take away your First Amendment rights to say what you freely want to.
Yeah, they're anti-American people. Very true.
Yes. And it's also bothering to see that these people are trying to, let's say this, they're trying to erase history. And they're trying to put people who were naturally white as black. Like, it's just shameful to see that people are literally claiming that Jesus is black.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And it's sad because they keep saying that these people were murderers, genocide, like Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was an amazing man for discovering this country.
Yeah,
and you should respect him to the highest authority. He and the people just treat him like a piece of garbage. They even like say, oh no, we're not going to celebrate that day because he's a genocide and it's the indigenous people. What have the indigenous people done to the United States?
I know. You know, I was talking with a guy, it was actually White Chris, yesterday about, I asked him, is it true about the carpets being made out of people's hair after the Holocaust? Because Earl was alleging that. No, and he's all, you know what, even if this stuff is true, look at every people. Every people have done their, let's call it, gory things. Think about like the shrunken heads and scalpings that the Indians were doing. And come on.
The thing about the Holocaust was that the Holocaust was bad in general, but they didn't. The thing was that Germany was really, really extremely poor.
Yeah.
So if they didn't have any slave labor, they would never get that country to run up again.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I heard that's partly why they starved, because weren't they like blockaded and sanctioned?
Yeah, and they were printing money, which made the economy like really, really bad.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that part.
And what else? Oh yeah, about the Christopher Columbus thing.
Yeah.
That man, basically back then it was, I'm taking your land, and if you wanna fight back, we're gonna have a war, right? It's a man versus man.
Right.
And if you don't fight back, we're gonna take it. It's our land. It's not stolen land. We won it. We conquered it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. And now they're all soft. We can't even waterboard people now. It's ridiculous.
Dude, it's like, how are we gonna get information from you? Are we gonna leave you a freaking treat? You want to have a cookie? Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Waterboarding is the most like softest form of torture.
Yeah. That's so true.
It's ridiculous how soft we have become over the years. I mean, even kids are becoming soft because of their parents.
Right. Yeah. It's like what Jason Lee Peterson was saying on his radio show earlier today. He was just before me, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time. He was talking about. He was talking about how women have made stuff like overprotective of people.
Oh yeah.
Hence these lockdowns, and it's so ridiculous. And this protecting,
of course.
And they protect the guilty and punish the innocent. It's so typical.
Yeah, but I'm 15, but my dad like limits my mother. He doesn't want her to control me.
That's
and I
cool.
love my dad with all my heart.
Wow, you're 15?
Yes, I am. I told you before, right?
Yeah.
I come from a socialist, communist country.
Right. Wow, you don't sound 15. You sound now that you say it, I can picture a 15-year-old, but you sound mature and wise.
Yeah, because my dad raised me right.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, are you Cuban?
Yes, I am.
You were born here or born in Cuba? Out of curiosity.
I was born in Cuba.
Okay. Wow.
We had back then, like when I was there, kids would go out of the streets, play. I don't see that. I would go ride my bike around the entire neighborhood, but nobody would come out.
Yeah.
And I'll be like the only kid there, and it's like they're all like in their little, computers and playing games and stuff.
Yep. That's a shame.
But that ain't me, bro. I like playing around in the streets.
That's cool. Right on, man. Well,
these liberals are just trying to erase history. They're trying to have a communist agenda.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Fidel Castro.
Yeah, they are. They're evil. Do you smoke pot? Out of curiosity?
No,
you don't.
No, never in my life.
All right.
And even if once they did offer me, but I just turned it down. I said, I don't do that.
Right on. Just curious.
No,
Somebody in chat made an allegation. Actually, they didn't make an allegation. They said you sound high and retarded. So I just had to ask. Just had to ask. You're not retarded either? Is that what you said?
No, I don't have any mental problems.
Good. Well, it's good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, you too, but you
Appreciate
have a nice day, all right, man?
All right. You as well. Take care.
All right, see you,
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I don't hear from you
Yeah,
again.
you too. Hope you spend it well with your family.
Nice. All right, Jose. That's cool. Jose from Miami, Florida. That's America, right? Nicolas was born in Miami, I heard. Miami. Is that how it's going to be pronounced? Shaggy Boy, thank you for the diamond. And by the way, Dark Side of the Bear What said that Earl mentioned lampshades. But no, that was me. I was joking around. I mentioned the lampshades yesterday. I laugh because I happen to know that, well, based on what you guys tell me, that was fake news or fake history or whatever. Let me get to Ryan, a first-time caller in Georgia, who asks, why do you still support Trump? Ryan, what's up?
Yes, sir.
Hey. Have you called
How you
before?
doing?
This is your first time?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Just wondering, how come you guys still support Trump after it's kind of obvious that the COVID thing's a hoax? And then, he ran on, proving that vaccines could cause autism, and he hired that Kennedy to do that. And
oh, really?
Sure enough, on his way out. Huh?
I didn't know that he ran on that, and that he hired somebody to prove that. I did not know that. I know in 2014 or 2013, I saw a tweet, and I think I retweeted it. He's why are these people getting all this, getting these shots, and then they have autism? He raised that question, and I happened across that some years later. I didn't know that he ran on that though.
Well, he talked about it, and that's why he hired that Kennedy to kind of investigate that type of stuff and put some truth out from the vaccines and whatnot. But just besides that, the whole COVID things, it's obviously not a pandemic to justify shutting down businesses and locking healthy people in their homes.
Yeah,
so
it's making things worse. These lockdowns. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
why would you still?
But he's not pushing. Because he's not pushing the lockdowns. He's actually been vocally protesting the lockdowns since what? April? Late March?
Yeah, he has, but he declared an emergency on the entire country and shut the entire country down, so that in anyone's eyes justifies those governors, gives them the right to prolong it for obviously more political reasons, but if they're being unconstitutional to their citizens, he's got the duty as a president to step up and do something about it, too.
Well, that's a fair point. I didn't know that he had declared an emergency. I didn't remember that, but I think you might be right. And you make a great point that these guys are violating our constitutional rights. But, we get what we deserve with these local politicians who are un-American, I would love for President Trump to swoop in and save us from these liberals, but he can't even function over there. So I cut him a little bit of slack because it's him versus the whole federal government, maybe not all, but half, maybe less of the state governments. There are some states who are with him in terms of state governments. And so, he's being undermined at every step. So I cut him a lot of leeway on that. And there's other stuff that I just don't know. He does stuff or things get decided in his administration, and the buck stops with him, right? But I don't.
Right. So why would he be president if he can't handle? And it's always someone else's fault. The buck's got to stop somewhere.
Yeah.
So I understand he's been pretty good up until the COVID, and the COVID he I don't know whether he fell for it and he didn't know how to get out of it or what, or he's part of the system or he's just inept. But to keep supporting him after all this, to me, is just not respecting the truth, which is obviously this thing is complete BS, this whole pandemic.
Okay. I can't argue with you too heavily because you're right. These lockdowns are evil. And he did
100%.
kind of play along with it. I mean, but I just can't. How are you going to turn on the guy? The reason I support him is more because of the spirit that he's shown in the fight. In terms of
he says the right things, I get it.
It's not just that he's.
Nice to...
I don't think it's just that he says the right things. When he comes under attack for saying something true, and he stands his ground. That's like unheard of in the government, you know? And so
100%.
That's something that I love about him. And whatever errors that he does and the maybe valid complaints that you guys are raising. I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of like I suspect that Reagan was actually okay, but he's done a lot of the stuff that he did was very damaging. I think maybe the same thing is kind of true with Trump. Is that fair?
I mean, it's fair. I thought that he was all right until the COVID thing hit, and it's like as soon as he started going up there and doing those 5 o'clock COVID briefings, he just looked like a shell of a man and kind of held his head down, and it was pretty much a wrap for him.
You might be right. I don't know. Ouch. I mean, he is a boomer. He trusts...
and all the boomers, they fall for it. That's for damn sure. Darn sure. Sorry.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So. He didn't mean to cuss.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you vote for him?
I did the first time, but after the the whole COVID thing and the lockdowns and him just calling out governors but not doing anything about it, talking about how the president has final authority but not doing anything.
Yeah.
He tickles the ears that he throws you the red meat audio wise, but in actually putting truth to power and doing it, he didn't do it. And that's why he's probably on his way out. He could go. Who knows what's going to happen? But I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen.
I understand your frustration. Hip Pockets 71S says, Hake, don't agree with a fool. I don't know. You think he's a fool for? He seems to be implying Hip Pockets something thinks that you might. Seems to be implying that you're a fool. Man, but honestly, dude, that's ridiculous that you would turn on him for that. How are you going to turn on him? He's so much better than even if you think he's wrong for this. He's so much better than anybody else. Biden or anybody. That's ridiculous, honestly.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Well, what president has ever shut down the entire country?
He didn't. Trump did not.
He did. He said 2 weeks to slow the spread and shut it down.
All right. Dang. You're brutal, Ryan. But I still say you're quick on the fly in turning on him.
Well, my problem is that you guys are too slow on the jump to realize the truth and to turn on him.
Okay.
All right.
Good fight, man. I mean, a good argument.
All right.
Appreciate you.
All right, brother.
We'll talk.
All right, now.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. All right. Interesting. We all know that hidden power suppresses Trump, says Lin Yan Chin. Lin Yan Chin says, caller blames Donald for vax violation against man. He didn't even mention vaccinations. Don't get him started. But thank you. I don't think he mentioned vaccinations, but I guess that's leading to it. Robot Moose says, state versus federal issue. Trump is limited. Yeah, I mean, states' rights. Caller isn't a word, meaning donkey, says Doom Jesus. Well, I appreciate you guys. I say it's silly, Ryan. You heard me the first time, not to vote for Trump the second time. Hake equals the hack report. Oh, that guy's sour grapes. Whatever, you independent commie. Let me get to Mary in San Antonio, Texas. Mary, what's up?
Hi, I just want to say hi. Happy New Year. Enjoying your show today. And a shout out to that nice young Jose from Miami. He just made my day.
Nice.
A young man speaking the truth.
Yeah. Isn't it refreshing?
Very impressive.
Yeah.
And want to say Happy New Year to all the JLP crew.
Nice.
And thank you for what y'all do. And I kind of agree with the guy, though, before me. I don't know who he is.
With Ryan, I'm not surprised.
Ryan.
Yeah. You're disappointed in Trump as well?
Oh, my God. When he said okay to that ridiculous stimulus, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to throw up. I thought he was bad, but this really put icing on the cake. I just was I said, Lord, if that man couldn't stand his ground, who the hell can? Sorry I had to say that, but
yeah. Did you vote for him the second time?
Oh yeah.
Nice. You have more sense than Ryan.
I believe that he is better than any scum and crap on the. I'm sorry, I'm so upset with our country right now. I have to call it like it is.
Yeah, I understand.
That with the
Mary.
mess on the other side, that I cannot believe anything. A monkey almost would be better than the garbage on the other side. They're outright Marxist, communist, socialist, destroying our country. Yeah. And you know what I wanted to make a comment on?
Yes,
and I did online about that poor policeman. Hey, there is no justified shooting. They could be the worst communist, Marxist killers in the world, and a white police, our great law enforcement, could go shoot them, and they're still, if they're black or even part black, the police is wrong. There is no more justified shootings in this country because of the corruption.
Yep.
Of law and order and the disgusting so-called leaders, even Biden.
Right. He's evil, man.
And calling evil. Even calling Rittenhouse what did you say he called it?
He seemed to imply that he's a white supremacist. Based on the tweet, in a tweet that I saw.
That man is pure evil. But Satan is their daddies. I mean, they got the thing is they got the power.
Yeah.
They got everything else. It makes me cringe when I think about what is supporting them according to the counts, over 50%. And I have a sign in my front yard. You think I'm not a target right now?
Yeah.
50 million when hell freezes over. And they get my message, what I think about those counts. I don't care. It's true. I mean, that is the truth. What they're saying is not the truth.
Yeah.
So
it's ridiculous.
Stuck. We're stuck for 4 years. God help us.
Yeah.
All the great Americans.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's not quite over yet, Mary. I know it's a very long shot, right? But it's not quite over yet.
Yes, and I do say Trump better than anything on the other side. Anything from that side.
Yeah. Well, right on to you for at least having that sense.
Thank you for what y'all do, and keep up the good work. Anything helps. Anything that helps people think straight, and God on our side is good. Thank you. Bye. Have a great year.
All right. You too. Take care. That's cool. I'm gonna give these guys, the board operators, Kyle Rittenhouse being called, apparently, a white supremacist. Joe Biden tweeted September 30th of 2020. There's no other way to put it. The President of the United States, that's right, Joe Biden, he is your president, refused to disavow white supremacists on the debate stage last night. Meaning, what, Proud Boys? Those aren't so-called white supremacists. But anyway, I just dragged into the folder, guys, Joe Biden, white supremacist, Kyle Rittenhouse screenshot thing of his tweet. And he put out a video, like a 50-second video, and at the 37-second mark or so, it has a scene of Kyle Rittenhouse, Kyle Jack Bauer, John Wick Rittenhouse, carrying his AR, meaning American rifle. American rifle. And lumping him in with other decent Americans who were smeared by Joe Biden, in essence, right? And this guy is going to unite the country. Please, give me a break. So I happened to come across that in the interview conducted by Owen Schroyer of Kyle Rittenhouse's mother and the lawyer John Pierce, one of the lawyers. FreeKyleUSA.com. Dana in South Dakota wants to respond to Ryan regarding Trump. What's up, Dana? Good to hear from you.
Hey, what's up, Hake? How you doing?
Fine.
All right, so the first thing I wanted to say is hindsight is 20/20. Yeah, we can look back and say, oh, this and that, but in reality, nobody knew anything about the virus. All we knew was there was some kind of deadly virus coming into the country, and of course Trump was going to shut the country down. We thought it was a deadly virus. But notice now that we know it's not, he's calling for the restrictions to be lifted.
Right.
But like Robot Moose said, it's state versus federal.
Yep.
So it's a constant battle, and Trump has been in our corner. He was the one fighting for us to get the $2,000. He's the one been fighting for us to get any kind of stimulus package that is reasonable and goes to actual Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been doing everything he can to help as much as he can, and during a pandemic that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a good defense. Dang.
Well, it's completely unfair to just completely blame everything. I mean, he sounds like a libtard blaming everything on Trump. Like, Jesus. And it just reminds me of that one saying where it's like there's a man stranded on an island or something, and God sends, like, a boat to go help him, and the guy says, oh, no, I'm gonna wait. Jesus will save me, or God will save me.
Oh, yeah.
And then, he sends, God sends a couple of things, and whatever. The long story short, the guy ends up dying, going up to heaven. And God says, and then he says to God, why didn't you save me? And God says, well, I sent people to help you.
Right.
Why didn't you take the help?
Yeah. Common sense. Common sense.
Exactly. And to flip-flop on someone that quickly and then to turn and try to blame it all, no, you can't blame that on him.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it coming. Nobody's a fortune teller and knows the future. I mean, but as soon as he realized, he started calling for the country to open back up.
Right.
That was one of his main things, was opening the country back up.
Even when it was still supposedly a danger, just wash your hands 10 times more and just keep your distance and all that stuff. Yeah, he was being fair.
Yeah, he's been trying, and he's been in our corner, and to put stuff on him like that, he just sounds straight up like a libtard.
Right. Yeah.
So I had to call in.
Appreciate it, Dana. Good to hear from you.
All right, you have a good one, Hake.
All right, you as well.
Okay.
Bye. That's Dark Side of the Bear. What, by the way? Not to dox her. Yes, it's so true. I forgot. I should have asked Ryan, first-time caller from Georgia, if he does the silent prayer. Are you in the chat, Ryan? Do you do the silent prayer? Send a super chat with a yes or no. Because it seems, like she said, to flip on Trump that easily. Silly. There has been like white nationalists who flipped on Trump because he's condemned white supremacists, so-called. To me, that's being like not reasonable. It's not being reasonable. Looking at the culture and the pressures and everything else. Kenny in Idaho wants to comment on Kyle, Jack Bauer, John Wick, Rittenhouse, the Great. Kenny, what's up?
All right. I'm tired of waiting for the latest on the Rittenhouse thing, but I think that's going to work out to the benefit of the lefties.
You think so? You think the Rittenhouse?
It's what they're doing deliberately. If they can postpone the inevitable exoneration of the boy.
I see.
Then they can just repeat their narrative. Whoever can say it louder than the most.
You're coming in kind of rough, Kenny. Are you on a speakerphone or a Bluetooth? Or are you inside your bunker?
No, I'm not. No. Well, maybe I am. I just all how you interpret the details. But yeah, aren't you tired of waiting for the results or the latest? Just get it over with.
Are you calling from Burning Man? Is Burning Man happening right now? No. No, Burning Man happens when it's hot, I heard. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, he should have a speedy trial. It's like when Owen Schroyer was interviewing him, he was talking about, what about this statute against, well, it's actually an amendment in one of the Bill of Rights about cruel and unusual punishment, including a $2 million bail. It's ridiculous. These people
That's unusual.
Yeah, that's evil. So, yeah, you're right. These people are just going to pretend that when he gets off, right? If and when he gets off, because he better be totally exonerated. When he's totally exonerated, they're going to say, they're going to, to this day, going to be calling him guilty. Just like they're doing with that disgusting woman who accused the only true Supreme Court justice, I say, with a hat tip to Alito, too. But Clarence Thomas, he was accused by this woman who, to this day,
we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day.
is a feminist heroine. And they're on drugs to be pretending.
A lady hero.
A female hero, yeah. Fake.
You better not just put planting seeds in the minds of those easily ferocious drug abuse.
I can't say that. This is the Hake Report. It's a children's friendly show.
Children's friendly. Family friendly.
Chris, family friendly. Chris said she's a... and it's true. It's true. But... yeah. What's her name? What's that name of that woman? Anita Hill.
Starts with a B, the word I'm talking about.
Yeah, it starts with a B. A blue woman.
She was just doing what her handlers were suggesting. She didn't know what the heck she was doing.
Well, I mean, all their handlers are Satan.
And Blasey Ford, same situation. Blasey Ford, her handlers, PR guys.
Yeah.
Potential publishers or whatever.
You're coming in really rough, Kenny. I got to run. Nice talking with you, man. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All right. Yeah, thank you. Take care. I got a super chat on Streamlabs from More Too Much. Gave a super chat and said, COVID is... Oh, man, I can't say this. I'm going to get banned from Twitter. COVID is a scam. We have no coffins in South Africa. What is he talking about? Oh, I think he's responding, saying, I think he's questioning the guy who said that COVID is just a scam. No, I mean, I saw his tweet from this British lady. And thank you, Kenny. Sorry, but your phone was too bad. Awful. Obama phone, right? Jib Jab, I don't know if I saw this. He said, you have not lived until you've had a hair carpet. That's funny. I might have read that yesterday. That's one of the Streamlabs super chats. Streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Yeah, I saw this tweet from this lady who is, I think, a UK radio host / journalist. I might have seen it on InfoWars. That in the UK, supposedly 300... What's the exact number? 377 healthy people under the age of 60 as of what the information that she had on December 26th, which was Saturday when she tweeted this. Julia Hartley Brewer. She is a radio host, I think in the UK, talk radio, breakfast show presenter. A presenter? Yeah, that's British, right? I think. She said, just 377 healthy people under 60 have died of COVID. And I'm presuming that she's talking about in the UK. And I think that she might be talking about from February or March or whenever this thing started to get taken seriously through December or something. She said that's not a typo. There are no zeros missing. 377. Yes, that's sad, she says, but we have locked down an entire country, well, the world really, or many countries, for a virus that mostly kills the very old and the very sick. It's not 377 people under 60, healthy people under 60 who didn't have the pre-existing conditions. The rest of us should be free to decide our own risks. Yes, very true. And she quote tweeted this Paul Embury guy who said the number of COVID-related deaths involving individuals under the age of 60 and free from a pre-existing condition is 377. This is for the entire period of the pandemic, and the source is NHS, which is a communist socialist organization inside the UK, right? United Kingdom. National Health Service. Right, that's what I say. That's what I say they are. And he provides a link to the statistics in the England NHS UK website. Paul Embury, who's another guy, a columnist, trade unionist, blue labor, out of presumably the UK as well. And then she has to like go on and explain, oh yeah, for the heart of understanding virtue signalers, that doesn't mean to hell with the old and sick. It means the Great Barrington Declaration, which you may have heard about by a bunch of liberal but more reasonable doctors and experts and many of us who have signed the declaration. I don't know if I signed it, but many citizens can sign it too. The Great Barrington Declaration was and is correct. Help the millions of old and sick to shield while allowing the young and healthy and our economy to carry on living. Freedom. It's evil. Somebody, it's so ridiculous. People are really, just any excuse to be control freakish. So President Trump, congratulations to President Trump. He won a plurality of the vote. Plurality means not majority, but a plurality, meaning the most out of anybody got votes, for most admired man in 2020. Wow. And 2020 was supposedly not kind to President Trump, by the way. Yes, President Donald Trump, according to the Epoch Times, Zachary Stieber reports, December 29th, is the most admired man in America this year, according to a new survey. 18% of respondents to a Gallup poll chose Trump as the most admired man of 2020. A year after he tied, I didn't know that, or I didn't remember, he tied with former President Barack Obama for first place in 2019. Dang. And, the mainstream media and the liberals all pump up Obama like he's an admirable man. He's not at all. Some of the black rhinos do fall for him. Including the tie, Obama was chosen as the most admired man for 12 years in a row. 12 years a slave. 12 years. That's ridiculous. That's shameful. Obama was chosen by 15% of the respondents in this year's survey. Good. I mean, not good. That's ridiculous. Shame on America for allowing 15% of the people to think that he's admirable. Nearly half of Republican respondents named Trump. No other figure received more than 2% of Republicans' votes. Obama was the top choice among Democrats, being named by 32% of Democrat respondents. In second was Democrat presidential candidate, not so-called president-elect, by the way, Joe Biden at 13%. One of the reasons why I love the Epoch Times. They stick with reality. He's not as they claim. He's not as they claim, despite what they want to push. Right? He got 13%, not of overall, but of the Democrat candidates. Independents were split. 11% of independents chose Trump. 11% named Obama. Independents, suckers. Suckers. Independents are communist, useful idiots. They're not truly independent. It's a misnomer. Maybe exceptions to the rule, but generally it's the fact. It's funny that Fauci, this is how messed up America is. We're opening the treasure chest. Anthony Fauci was chosen by something like 5% of the people. That's ridiculous. The longtime director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, and who wrote fawning emails admiring Hillary Clinton, even after she said, especially after she said, what difference at this point does it make? And then she refused to answer the question, and then she said, we need to find out the answer to the question. So, what? About what exactly happened with the Benghazi 9/11 2012 terror attack. Obama's fake NSA director, Susan Rice. They named a holiday after Fauci, according to Dark Side of the Bear. What? That's wild. She loves hot sauce. You know, that weirdo, Charlemagne the God, called her out for pandering, but meanwhile he bought hook, line, and sinker into the pandering of the so-called black woman, Kamala Harris. That's the radio host who called out the hot sauce lady, Hillary Clinton. Such a phony person, just like Obama and just like Joe Biden. Very phony people all around. So, yeah, chosen by 5% of Democrats, 2% of independents, 1% of Republicans. What's up with the Republicans? 1% is too many to admire Fauci. Biden came in third, Fauci in fourth. Top 10 included Elon Musk, Bernie Sanders, ridiculous, Pope Francis, Microsoft founder Bill Gates, LeBron James, an NBA star, and the Dalai Lama. Simps. What a country of simps. Ugh.
LeBron James.
LeBron James. I love the South. That kid's black. Therefore entertaining. Wow. Of those polled, 11% named a relative or friend as their most admired man. 21% didn't respond. Right on. 19% chose other, declining to pick anybody listed. Billy Graham leads with 61 top 10 finishes. Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, Pope John Paul, Bill Clinton, whatever. Michelle Obama was chosen as the most admired woman. Wow. They saved the worst news for last. Oprah, Angela Merkel, Hillary Clinton, Cortez, Queen Elizabeth, Amy Barrett, Greta Thunberg.
She knows she's still the boss.
It's terrible. Horrific. So congrats to the Hillary, Based America First, Misty Loca, Canadian David, Mr. J. Let me quickly I have like 1 minute to go, right? Let me get to Joe in Phoenix, Arizona. He wants to comment on Biden. I think he might be trying to say that Biden is president-elect. Joe from Phoenix, what's up? Merry Christmas.
Hey, Hake.
Hey.
The Electoral College did vote Biden in, buddy.
But it hasn't been confirmed by a joint session of Congress. And there may be lawsuits remaining.
Yeah, well, given the fact that Trump has lost every lawsuit, there won't be any change to that going forward, I bet.
You bet. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to bet you because I'm a Christian. I don't bet.
All right.
But I admit the chances are slim. But I love. Don't you respect President Trump and admire him for not giving up?
No, I think it's dangerous because he's not giving the correct information over to the transition team.
As if Joe Biden's going to handle the information correctly anyways, or his administration. He's going to pick the worst people. They don't need that info.
I didn't vote for Biden, so I don't really care about Biden.
Yeah.
Trump should respect the will of the people and lead.
But the will of he contends that the will of the people is different from what the supposed results say. So he is respecting the will of the people.
So James,
the decent people of America.
All the states would have to be wrong. Electoral college would have to be wrong.
They may well be. Is or is not the country quite corrupt?
And just because something can be true does not mean that it is true.
Well, he knows more than you about this situation. Let's put it that way.
James, he's lost every single court case, every single one. I have to say something to you.
It says nothing more than that those judges ruled against it. For maybe good reasons in some cases, maybe.
James, it has to be a massive conspiracy that cannot be covered up.
No, not true. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a conspiracy.
To reject all of its claims.
No, there can be a massive weakness.
No.
Yeah, it can be it's a culture of corruption. It's not a conspiracy. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's a culture.
Every state and
it's a
SCOTUS
corrupt
twice.
It's a corrupt culture.
Every state and SCOTUS twice.
Is it true or is it not? I'm going over with him just to because it's important. Is it true or is it not that rhinos have a culture of caving to Democrat corruption?
Caving?
Caving. Rhinos cave. That's their culture.
I disagree with that.
Oh, okay. Anyway, man, interesting points. Interesting points.
I disagree on that, too.
Happy New Year to you, Joe. Unless we talk again, we'll say Happy New Year again, but we'll talk. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Take care. Hot Computer Smell with the last super chat says hair carpet equals. Oh, man. She says hair carpet equals hollow cloth. With that, thehakereport.com, guys. Enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.